Well, won't you have a look at this? I mean, it is one of the most beautiful bronze coins I have ever found. The reverse, in particular, the writing is so crisp. It looks like it was dropped on the day it was minted. It's really that good. It looks like it was made and then lost. I mean, it's something else. Now, welcome to headquarters. A little bit of a slightly different way of doing it, mainly because of the circumstances in which I found this coin. I mean, it just made a very average day just go stratospheric. I spent about 3 hours on a new pasture field, which looked on paper really good. It was absolutely devoid of anything apart from the odd Victorian coin, which makes me think maybe it was just woodland, you know, for a very long time, or swamp or something. Nothing happened on it at all, and it was in a really good area. So I spent about an hour on some pasture that I hadn't done that much, but wasn't very hopeful, just something to change the scene, because I was just getting bored. And then I dug a really proper iffy signal. It was basically sounded like iron, but there was a squeak, a very obvious squeak, but very quiet, which was absolutely central to the iron every way I moved. It wasn't moving round. Quite often with the Deus II, if you're getting a bit of a better signal amongst bad signals, but every time you go around, well, I'll show you later, I'll show you in the video what I mean. But if the good sound is moving, then it's definitely iron. This was a signal that most of us would not have dug. It just didn't give anything at all. It was about 14 inches deep, and it was that. And it made me think, let's do a video, especially now I've got this new speaker. Let's do a video on the Deus II, digging signals and targets that you simply cannot afford to miss, or you simply cannot afford to pass by. Now, as most of you know, I'm a great believer in don't dig everything. I don't care what people say, dig everything, don't dig everything. I want you people not to dig everything. I think you waste your time digging everything. Sometimes you're wasting your time digging what they call iffy signals. I don't think these are iffy signals. I think these are good signals that we miss because we don't think they are good signals. Anyway, enough of me banging on about all that here. Let's go straight out into the fields and I'll show you what I mean. I did the video yesterday. I had the idea about a week ago when I found this, but I only got round to doing it yesterday, and I hope you enjoy it because I really did. See you later. Hi there. Welcome back to the windiest country on earth. Well, having found that Roman coin, I just thought it'd be a really fun video to do. Just concentrating on, I'm not going to say dodgy signals, I'm going to say missable signals with this machine. It's very easy to dig up ding, nice, easy signals that are obviously close to the surface, or very conductive targets that are a bit deeper. It's a bit easier to miss things with this. So all I'm going to do today, I'm going to dig obvious signals off the camera, but on camera, we're just going to find really, as I said, not iffy, just missable. Having said that, this one is a bit iffy. I thought we'd start on something really tricky. I've already found a little hammered coin, not too iffy. I don't know what it is. I think it's well, I just don't know. I thought it was copper to start with, but it's not. It's silver, I think. And a little bit of buckle, and I haven't dug that many signals, but there are plenty of tricky ones here, and there are signals that you could easily just pass by saying foil, or that you're not going to pick them up in the first place. Now, I'm not going to adjust this to try and get to the maximum depth possible. I don't fiddle around with the machine too often. I turn it on, change a couple of settings and stick it in my pocket, and I never look at it for the rest of the day. I'll give you the settings I'm using now. They are probably not the perfect settings for deep pasture, but if you keep your ears open, you'll hear them anyway, like here. I'm just going to plug my speaker in. I can do this video now because of this new speaker. But I wonder still if you're gonna pick up on everything, but we'll see. It's fairly close to the mic, so I hope you're gonna hear it. Okay, a little bit of rain in the air, but I don't think it's gonna be too bad. Hopefully, famous last words. Right, I think we're good to go. I'm gonna have to turn it up on the max on this and see.
Right, there's a lot of iron in there. This is iffy. But I'm getting a squeak there. I'm getting a squeak there. Can you hear the higher pitched sound amongst it? That's sounding very irony through the speaker, but it was sounding less irony in my ear. So that's interesting for starters. Maybe the speaker picks up on the lower frequencies. Who knows? But anyway, let's have a look. Yeah, it's very. But that's not, is it? So maybe it's a good target amongst iron. Either way, it's the sort of thing with these settings that I would walk over 10 times out of 11, but I'm just training myself not to. And the amount of things that I've dug up recently, which sounded like very, very low, just a buzz, buzz, just a touch off iron, and when you bring them to the surface, it's ding, ding, ding. I mean, this is going to go either way, but it's a good one to start off. It's nice and deep, which makes me think iron. Yeah. Okay, busted early on. This won't happen again too often, I hope. There's something still in there. It's not iron. I'm sure of it. I'm not going to waste too much time. I know we've got too much to do today. Well, whatever it is out. It's not in there anymore. Well, that's just an old rusty nail. We won't be digging any more of those today. Part of me thinks there is something non-irony in there, but let's get on. Woo! What a start. God, that's annoying. I was digging the wrong hole. It's this one, listen. This is the one I meant to be digging. I thought, well, it's going to be another bit of iron, so I'll just get it out of the way. But now I've dug a plug out. That's not iron. But it's incredibly wispy and was even more so before I removed that 6 inches there. But there's a bit of iron in there. Can you hear it? Anyhow, it's the sort of thing that probably you may not pass over unless you're swinging too quickly like I do. Right, it's about 8 or 9 inches. Just got to keep your ears peeled. I'm sure maybe if I lowered reactivity, la-di-da, and audio response and fiddled around for hours on end, I might be able to have made that sound a bit more attractive, but I don't need to because I know it's worth digging. It might not be any good. I've got no pressure this morning to find anything good. I just want to find things that could be something good. Little copper buttons could be Roman coins. I don't mind. I'm just testing myself just on signals like that, which you could easily have just walked over because it wasn't going ding, ding, ding. Well, look, it's just a piece of lead. It's just a lead musket ball or something like that. But it doesn't matter. Could have been something much, much nicer. And we found it at depth on a funny signal. Now I'm wondering if this may not be a bit irony. You're going to get exactly the same view today. It's so windy. The camera's going to blow over any other angle. And you're not going to hear me if I don't have my back to it. So sorry about that, but anyway, it's an educational video, so still getting used to this speaker. Now this might be a bit irony. You're going to definitely hear the grunt, but I can get a two-way signal every angle. Now, the other thing that makes me think of iron is that I can hear the higher pitch there suddenly and then a little bit off it. It's not in the same place. But it could be because there's iron there. And that's a separate signal. Either way, if you were just doing this, you would miss it. Well, let's give it a shot. If this is iron, I'll stop doing these signals today and just keep on the ones which I know to be non-iron. A lot of you got so angry with me when I did my video early on using this. It takes a long time to get used to what is iron and what isn't iron with the XP Deus II, but I think I'm pretty much there now. I think there's something there which isn't iron. I think there's iron around it, and I think there's a non-ferrous signal. And this goes deep when you're good at it. Well, it's out. There you go. That was a bit iffy. That wasn't just something you should look out for and get used to hearing. That did sound a bit iffy. But let's have a look, see what it is. I don't care if it's horrible. As long as it's something that could be something nice. Well, look, it's just another piece of lead. But it doesn't matter. It was deep, deep down. It's old lead. And if you're digging signals, if you're not, at least we're not missing them. See, I'm thrilled with that in a way, believe it or not. It's not just about digging obvious signals, especially in this field. You've got to avoid them in this field because it's just modern coinage and ring pulls because the amount of festivals and things they have on it. We need to be getting the deeper stuff. Well, my God, I didn't even bother you with this. It was 11, 12 inches down. It was just a tiny, tiny squeak with amongst a big iron buzz. And I dug it anyway. I thought you wouldn't probably even be able to hear it through the mic. It's a little jeton. I mean, my eyes have been completely opened up ever since I started digging these signals, which I think I've been avoiding because it's just, I mean, well, I'm not going to bang on about it because I want to get to showing you signals, but it's just a lovely sort of 17th century rose and orb jeton in beautiful condition from, I don't know, look, more than a pinpointer deep. Had it been completely upright, it might have given a better signal. Maybe it was on edge. Just going to give you an example of what I wouldn't dig. Slightly out of the wind here, it's quite nice. I've learned that if you're going to dig a little squeak amongst iron or amongst slightly grumbly ground, this tiny little squeak, even if it's only coming off 1 or 2 angles, has got to be in the same place. If you're getting a squeak which is moving around slightly in a smallish space, let's say, I don't know, 2 or 3 square inches, it's going to be iron. If it stays in the same place and there's iron grumbling or ground grumbling around it, then you've got a good chance. But something like this, it's a bit of a squeak there. It's lots of iron, obviously. Definitely getting a bit of a signal there, aren't I? I'm coming around here. I'm getting a bit more, but it's moved. It's moved about an inch further north. It's a bit louder there. But again, it's moved. So I think that's going to be iron. I wouldn't dig that. But if that squeak was in exactly the same spot, I probably would. Let's just dig it anyway. It's going to be... just check this camera's on. It's going to be a gold ring now, isn't it? it's not going to be a gold ring. And if it's very deep iron, I'm going to stop. I'm not digging. I've got not got time for it. It's a bit of an experiment. See, there's a squeak there. Which is, well, it's a little bit more in the same place now, but maybe that's because I've got a bit of dirt out. This basically was not a digger, this. Well, if it's just there, so we can keep going. It's tiny, whatever it is, but it sounded, that's what, it's small iron that, and there it is. Possibly a very old, but certainly a little bit of iron. I wouldn't have dug that, wouldn't have wasted my time, but had it been the squeak bin in the same spot, perfectly in the same spot amongst grumbly iron, I might have done. Right, as luck would have it, right next door, that's the iron. Here, listen. I was hoping we'd come across one of these. I don't know if it'll be any good. It's not iron, but it's not far off it. It's just a little grunt, little buzz. Not that deep. But those buzzers, when they're deeper, are just a little bit smaller and a little bit fainter. I love these sounds with this machine. That's just beautiful. It's not an obvious target. It's something you're going to have to keep your ears open for. I don't think it's foil either. The foil does sound slightly different. Even though it's sounding a bit foily now, I promise you I'm not covering myself. It just does sound a little bit more. Could be another jeton. Bang in the middle of the hole. I always tell you when I'm pinpointing well today. So that's certainly 7, 8, 9 inches. I would have thought might be lead. Thin lead makes this sound as well. But that could be a Boy Bishop token. It's out. Oh, it's there. Right. No. Thought that was lead. Oh God, I'm sorry guys. It's just a thin bit of lead. But again, it's just that signal. It's not iron. That's the whole point, as I said very early on. I don't care what we find today. I mean, that could have been something wonderful. It's just about digging stuff that you may not, especially someone like me who's ruthless when it comes to what to dig and what not to dig. I mean, as you know, a lot of you say dig everything. Well, I really don't, and I try and impress as much as possible on you lot not to either. You just waste your time. But that could have been something good. Anyway, as I said, it's not a finds video, but when I was planning this video, between planning this video and coming and doing it yesterday, I found something absolutely mind-blowing. And I didn't have any camera equipment at all. I usually bring something. I just had my iPhone, but look at this. Hi there, this isn't the way I usually do this, as you know. But I've come out and I've not got any filming equipment. I've come out really light. I've just got my pouch and my pinpointer and my metal detector and a spade. I'm doing a bit of cover which hasn't come up. And I'm predominantly having a nice time and not having to think about finding nice things. And I haven't found anything. I'm just enjoying myself. Until now. I think this might be Saxon. Let's have a closer look at it anyway. Well, look, it's a monarch holding a mitre or something on that side. That's not typically, that's not a typical later medieval coin. And on this side, now look, I really don't, I know I always say it, I don't want to scratch this too much. It's not in the best condition. I'm going to leave it like that. But I'm absolutely thrilled. Is it Stephen? Is that ST? Is it a Stephen coin? Is it a Norman coin, not a Saxon coin? Either way, it just couldn't matter less. I mean, I always talk about how odd this hobby is and how when you least expect it. I don't find Norman and Saxon stuff here generally. So we'll take this home. I'm not... I'd have a look at headquarters and see.
Well, my God, I found this the day before. Again, I didn't take my camera out with me. I took nothing. Usually I take at least one little camera. I didn't bother with anything because I knew I was on a field where I grew up, which I've done a million times. It's been done a million times before me. But it was a lovely day and I was having a lovely time, but I didn't find anything until this. Now, I have found a couple of cut halves in the VIII area of one Saxon and one Norman. So it wasn't a complete surprise, but I've never found a full Norman coin before. So you've got William I, William II, Henry I, and then Stephen. I won't go into all the history. I'm not that good on the Normans, but it's a very interesting period. It's a bit complicated because it's all civil war and everything with Matilda. His claim to the throne of, I think he was trying to claim the throne of England and France. Anyway, I just don't know enough about it. But he came in, I think, in 1150, something like that. These coins, this particular coin, can be dated precisely to 1150 to 1155, I think. But we'll have a look in a second. But I'm right, it says ST, and then after that, it's IEP or IEF. I think it's IEP. It's spelled steep. Steep MEN, I think, or just Steep E. It was the Stephen of the day. And it's a particularly good bust because they don't survive particularly well, these coins. The reverse has got some lovely legend on it. It's very worn on one side there, less so on the other. But all in all, it's a bloody nice coin. And again, it's just one of those things that you only need to find one thing in 4 hours. One thing. Doesn't have to be a tenth as good as that, but something like that just made me completely, I mean, that was it. I'd done my time anyway. I just went home. I went home with this in my pocket. That's just not waiting to be able to tell what it was, to find out what it was. So I did put it on the detectinghub.co.uk because I wanted to show it off. But I could easily tell what it is. Here we go, Stephen, 1135 to 1154. So it's a very late Stephen in that case, sorry. He was around for about 20 years. Let's get my glasses on. And it's just here. BMC 6 is the reference to, what a BMC, I can't remember. British medieval coins, I think. Cross and piles types, and we've got the date 1150 to 1154, and there it is. The Stephen coin. Now, there are quite a few of Stephen coins because they all get a bit funny during the Civil War. And then the Angevin party, is that Stephen as well? Not quite sure. And then you get to Henry II and his short crosses and Tealby and all the rest of it. But it was just... I just thought I'd show you this because, as I said, I didn't even have a camera with me, just had my telephone. But it's such a shame. I'm not going to waste that. I can't build a complete video around it. But I thought while we're scrubbing around on dodgy signals... I'm going to show you what I found the day before, and it's just wow. I mean, what more can I say? Thank you very much for listening to all that, and let's get back to the fields.
Absolutely mind-blowing. I've never found a proper Norman coin before, as I think I probably mentioned. Anyhow, this is a little bit more obvious. Not a ding-ding-dinger, but probably the nicest signal I've had in this field so far today. I mean, wispy, but nice and high-pitched. Bit of iron there. The other thing about these slightly iffy signals is there's going to be a squeak that catches you. It's going to be, and then you have to investigate that squeak, and more often than not it's horrible, like that. Anyway, let's dig it. Sorry, waffling on. I'm having a really nice day. I didn't expect to find anything today, but this is very, very promising. Listen to that. I think I can see it. Yup, it's there. And it is a, well, oh, part of me thought little Saxon brooch. It's not, I don't think. It's just a washer of sorts, but it's round. Well, do you know what? I mean, no, I don't think that's anything grand. But it's a little bit wonky. Perhaps it might be a brooch or something slightly earlier than I thought, but I don't think so. Hang on, we'll clean that up. You just don't know. I think it looks earlier than I first thought, and it was very, very deep, so there might be something on that. Part of me thinks that is just a little bit. I don't think it's a modern washer, whatever happens. But, well, we'll see. Let's have a look. Anyhow, what a lovely signal, though. Well, here's another buzzer. We'll leave the buzzers after this one. This video is really to show you what I would and wouldn't dig with the Deus II. And I would dig this, even though I feel this is small and closer to the surface. Pretty boring sounding, isn't it? But it's not iron. I mean, I don't know how good it's going to be, but I have just found something wonderful on an obvious target, which we're not doing, which I'll show you in a minute. We'll get back to obvious targets soon. A lot of the fields I like going on have been cultivated at the moment, so we should have some fun in the next month or so. This is... Let's have a listen now. Well, again, I mean, if I was in a foily park, I would say it was foil, but there's not a lot of foil up here. That's not foil, I don't think, and it's deep. It's not really about getting your machine so much to pick out the targets that you want. It's a lot of it's getting your mind around it. Put your mind in deep mode. And it's lovely. It's a strap end with a bit of its buckle remaining on it. I've not found it before. I've been here possibly 100 times, maybe more. It was very unassuming. It wasn't ding, 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 was it? But it wasn't iron. A little bit of buckle. No pin and no end of the buckle. But decorated copper strap end. I mean, amazing. Get your mind in deep mode. Most of you probably wouldn't have missed that, especially if you're digging everything and going very slowly. But there's plenty of times when your mind isn't picking up really, really quiet, faint, low, buzzy targets. But with this machine, it's brilliant for it. Absolutely phenomenal. Oh, I forgot, look. I mean, I'm really lucky. I've had a hammer coil, a lovely jetta, and this today. And it's a day I'm not really not needing to find things. Now, I think this must be Roman. It's a socking great Roman ring, I think. The stone is missing. You can see where obviously it would have been. I'm not going to scratch it too much in case there is any sort of design on that. I don't think there is. And maybe it's later, maybe it's medieval, maybe it's post-medieval, I don't know. I'll put it on the detecting hub, let the experts tell us. But wow, I mean, a socking great piece of very early jewellery. Shame it's not got the rest of its band, but still, I love that. Now this may not be any good, as it is so faint. I hope you can hear it. I'm on max full. But it's not iron, no iron there at all. And it's the sort of thing that you've just, well, a lot of you are probably going to say, well, just lower the reactivity. I really don't like going below 2.5. I find it harder to distinguish between what's good and bad. It might be faintly louder, but not an awful lot. And I find it just becomes things. Hang on, you probably won't hear me if I'm around that side. I find iron is even more deceiving. Very army area here. It's all rifle rounds and shotgun cartridges. So I don't think it's going to be good, but it's deep and it's not iron. I mean, they're very exciting, these signals. I mean, this is a long way down, but you could tell. I don't think it's going to be very big. I don't think it's a rifle round. I don't think it's punchy enough, even at this depth. It's probably just a bit of lead or something rubbish. But we picked it out. It's a funny signal, but for once, no iron involved. I think it's out. It's out. Let's listen to it now. That really is 13, 14 inches. No doubt, well, no, not quite. Just the pinpoint, a bit more. Got to be such fun if this was good. I'd love it. Oh, it's just a bit of lead. Oh no. Still could be. It's a tiny crotal bell fragment at that depth. Well, I don't want to call it, but I've got a sneaky suspicion that might be quite an early one. And it wasn't iron, and it was a tiny wispy signal. And I mean, that's my watch going off. Would the Des want to pick that out? Possibly. But it was very, very deep, and it's just a slither of copper. It's definitely one of the nicer decorated ones you can see there. But anyway, well, look, I've got to go home in a minute. I've been digging a lot of rubbishy targets, and I've been saving the wispy ones for camera. But let's go on a little bit longer and just see. Well, here's an interesting one. Please don't now start just digging up iron and then blaming me for it, because okay, here it is. Just about sounds okay there. Buzzy, but a good two-way signal which isn't moving. It's in the same place. It's not suddenly there or there or there. It's in the same place. Even though you can hear quite a lot of iron around it. Now, that could be a bottle top, quite possibly. But it's also definitely worth digging. I haven't found a signal yet which, if it sounds a little bit irony, but there's a squeak and then you're going around it and there really is suddenly a lot more iron, then it probably is iron. I'm not suggesting that you dig all the irony targets you've been avoiding. I'm just saying, just be cautious and definitely really think if you're in deep mode, if you're in deep target mode, not if you're just picking stuff off the surface. Well, it's not there. It's still here. Now it could, I mean, it could easily be a bottle top, this. They really do fool me, but quite deep. This is probably the last target. It's getting too windy and it's feeling quite stormy suddenly. It might even be a bit dark to see me on the camera. But it's just there, whatever it is. I don't know how to call this one. Sorry, I look like I'm digging a bit deeper than I am. It's just because there was a stone in the way, I had to get round it. Now I reckon it's got to be amongst that lot. I think that's rusty iron. No, but still worth digging. No, look, it's a cartridge. So, yeah, I mean, that could have been a Roman coin quite easily. So we were right to dig it. We were right to dig it. But it's not an awful lot of fun digging these, but it's not iron, and it could have been a good target. So we're justified. Well, my God, that got me excited. Look. Oh, my heart just skipped a beat. And I turned it over and it was, this brooch, but no, it's a button, I think. Well, hang on a second. Yeah, it's a button. I think I can see a crown. A crown there. Is that a crown or a... Well, I don't think that's gold. Not gold. And yeah, it's got to be a button. It's a fancy button. I've just broken it as well. Just broken the thing. Let's get that back and cleaned up. It's got some age, I would have thought. I mean, the gilding on the back is better than the gilding on the front. That might be something. We never know. Gosh. Well, look, if we're next back at headquarters, you'll know it is. But wow. Well, I'm sorry not to have live dug this. It sounded very, very like the it sounded basically just a very spiky high tone with a bit of grumbling, but it was in the same place and it was mostly all the way round. And my God, look at this. I mean, that really is 14-15 inches deep. This machine, I mean, I'm really pleased I did this video today because it's taught me a few things, to dig a few things I may not have dug before. Look, it's still got the mud on it. It's a buckle. It's not the most fascinating in the world. My gut feeling is Tudor, but I think it might be very slightly earlier than that. It's not sort of anything particularly special. It's a bit corroded. It might clean up a bit, but that's just absolutely fabulous. And I'm so sorry I didn't live record it so you could hear it, but it was extremely like one of the earlier ones. No different. And I'm absolutely just amazed, absolutely amazed. I mean, I didn't expect that. I just thought I'd better dig it up and see what it is. But wow, what a day. Look at all that, look how deep that was. My God. And it took some digging as well, I tell you. Well, I really am coming to the end. And it's been really good fun. I've really enjoyed doing it. But I'm worn out because I've dug a lot of signals, a lot of dodgy signals I may or may not have done. The majority, to be fair, were not iron, so I'm absolutely thrilled. And I've had a signal down here about that deep, as you can see, about 5 inches. And I can see it, and I think I know what it is. And it's a hammered coin, and I really think I've deserved this. It's a lovely colour, but it's not in the greatest condition. I think it might even be Henry. It looks Tudor, doesn't it? It'll need to clean up a little bit. I mean, my gut feeling is always with these out there, Elizabeth, but I don't think that is. I mean, it's not in the best condition, as I've said, but I don't care. That's just brilliant. God, I can hardly get up. Getting old. What a wonderful way to start to finish off. I didn't live dig it because I didn't really think much of the signal, to be fair, and I know I always try and end on a live dig, but I think that's me. I think I'm going to call it a day on that because that's just brilliant. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope let's hope it was useful as well. I'll put up what that coin is there. We won't go back to headquarters now, and I'll see you next time.